Hello everyone. So I decided to do a tutorial on how to use files that are downloaded from Etsy or any other site that you would purchase SVGs or PNGs or even download them for free. I see a lot of people asking how to use them, how to convert them, why you need SVG over PNG and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you a simple example on the differences and how you can use them and the way that the SVG should be used. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start out here. You're going to upload an image. So once you buy it on the site, you're going to download it to your computer. Typically it'll go into your download folder unless you tell it to go somewhere else. So these are designs that I've done myself. So I'm going to show you, we're going to start with the PNG, okay? So I selected the PNG file. You see it here. You're going to go with complex, right? Because you can see the difference, otherwise it changes the way the picture looks. So for anything that you're printing, you use complex. Continue. There's no editing needed on this file. Sometimes you'll have pictures with a white background. You would have to edit that out. But this file is designed for people to download and use, so it's ready to go. Okay, here we're going to keep it as print then cut image because it does have full color design. If it was only plain text, then you could go with the cut file, but we don't want to lose the color of the donut. Alright, so then that you would just go ahead and insert it. And this is a ready to go, size it to however you need it. And then just click make it. This is going to be a fully print and cut design. Now, let's say that you want to print the donut, but you want to use a basic black vinyl to cut your text. Okay, the way you would do that is now with the SVGs. Okay, so we're going to go back in here, browse, pick the SVG here. And SVGs tend to be heavier files, so if your system tells you that it's big, it needs a moment, just let it think for a minute, okay? It'll work it out. So here you skip all of those other steps. Right, and you can see if you look at just looking at the donut how messy that looks versus how clean this is. That'll usually show you what kind of file it is. So if it's clean, it's a PNG. If it's messy, it's SVG. So let's go ahead and insert it. Okay, so this one, if you want to print the donut and only cut the text with a basic vinyl, what you would do is ungroup. There we go. And you would select all of the text. Okay, and then you can weld that. And then now that is a standalone cut file. Okay, so we can hide it. And now if you were, that's it, you wanted to keep the design exactly as is, you could just do Command or Control A to select everything, flatten, and then now everything looks perfect. Okay, so when you go to do it, you see cut and print, and then cut. So if you go to make it, it's too big. Remember, for printing, you can only do a certain size. Alright, so if you go to make it, it's going to show you two different mats. This is going to be your print and cut, and here is your basic cut for the text. Now, let's say you wanted to change the color of your donut. Now this is where having the SVG comes in handy. And it's also why the files tend to be so much bigger. Okay, so I'm just going to undo everything that I did. So now it's back to multi layer. Now the text is still hidden, which is fine. We don't really need to mess with that right now. So if you wanted, let's say you wanted a purple donut. All right, this around every black line is a layer. Okay, which is why these files tend to be so heavy, because you can actually change each detail about the donut. Okay, so let's say you wanted a purple one. You would go and you could just start changing out the colors of the layers. Okay. Sometimes they're a little hard to grab because of their size, so you can just, zoom in as much as you need to. I suggest you zoom versus enlarging or changing the size of it, just because if you change the size, then once you bring the text back into the picture, it's not going to line up right. But okay, let's see. Yeah, so sometimes it's easier to just look for them here. Even though for some reason the screen might move on you, you can look for it again. Alright, so let's do that. Can do that. Okay. Alright, and then you can go in and do these little details that are missing. You can change the color of the sprinkles. I mean, there's so many things you can do there. Now let's see that the color palette isn't quite what you're looking for. You can just come in here, see, and just change it up based on what you want. And now it's there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out again. I know I missed some spots in there, but because this is just an example, I'm not too concerned about it. So again, Control or Command A to select all. You would flatten it. Okay, bring back our text. And there is your design with a purple donut. So they're pretty easy to use once you start to get the hang of it. A lot of designs that you download from Etsy and these other places, like if you go and download an SVG, if you're just using text, you don't really need it. There's no purpose other than if you're going to be changing the details like I just did on the donut. I mean, if you're just keeping it black, a simple PNG without a background is sufficient. You want the SVG though if you're doing full color, because it will give you much more flexibility with being able to change little details about a design and make it your own. Okay, and then that's pretty much it. So again, you would just make it and it would send this to print, and this would just be on your cut mat. Or even then, if you just wanted to do the whole thing as a print and cut because it's faster, again, you could just select there, change that to print, and now it's going to go out as your print and cut. It will be two separate pieces unless you attach. Okay, once you attach it, again, let's take it down a notch. This is what that little warning was. So now when you make it, it's the one design all together, perfectly placed already. And then just depending on what material you're using is if you would mirror or not mirror. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop a line or reach out to me on any one of my social media outlets. Please hit like and follow, and happy crafting!